Three, two, one, let's go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode on the George Habib podcast. The topic of today is basically health, specifically our generation's health these days, what's not so great about it, what kind of happens because it's not so great, and basically how I kind of feel like everyone's a bit too squishy these days for my liking. I just feel as a generation we're getting a bit too soft, and I feel the first thing we can change in our lives is our bodies. That's the spiel of it. But now we're going to bring an expert into this discussion. Guys, I bring our guest today, RJ.
How's it going, George? Nice to be here, man.
Nice to have you here, RJ. How's your day going? Anything new? Anything special?
Just busy day, man. I spent a little bit of time with my business this morning, trained some clients. Got home, spent time with my family, my wife, and my kid. We went to a little park. We did a little. I have a 2.5-year-old, so we did a little sliding down the park, and we did some running and walking, some coloring. So it's been a fun day so far.
I'm assuming you did that. The coloring was for your kid, and you weren't just at a table coloring while.
Yeah. I was just with her, yeah, supporting her, of
Perfect,
course.
man. As we say in the Middle East, smallah, it means God bless for your family.
I appreciate that, man. God bless your family as well, buddy.
I appreciate that too. So, just to give a bit of background on RJ, RJ is a fitness coach. He owns his own gym in Florida, I believe.
That's right.
You've got your own Instagram, you've got your own YouTube channel where you offer fitness advice. All the links down below, guys. Please give him some love, give him some follows. And yeah, RJ, so we know you're a fitness coach, but what is your background? Like, where are you from? How did you start? What got you into all of this?
Well, I was born in Serbia. We came here when I was 11 years old. When I was about 10 years old, I actually fell from a tree, messed my back up a little bit. So I did some rehab, and then kind of that was my trajectory thing to fitness. It definitely made me stronger, got me back to playing sports again. And then fast forward, moved to U.S. and Florida and Clearwater here. We've been here since we moved in. um, Once after high school was done, I was like, man, what do I do with myself? I got no idea. Do I do business? Like, just kind of lost, typical high schooler, just lost after graduating. And then I was like, well, I always liked sports, so why don't I just kind of get into the strength conditioning and train athletes? So I ended up at University of South Florida, got my AA and bachelor's degree from there. Ended up interning and working with the basketball Division 1 players at USF, and then eventually kind of moved back to from Tampa to Clearwater, and then working a couple of corporate gyms before opening my own place. And we've been open for about 5.5 years now. Doing really good, loving it. Very busy, but I'm enjoying my work and my days.
I'm glad to hear that because I feel like it's too common out there. We got some people putting themselves hundreds of thousands of bucks in debt over like some, and I'll keep saying it, like Greek poetry classes or indigenous basket weaving or something like that. And here they are stuck not doing what they love. But like you said, you love the fitness. Was
Yes.
there something specific that started it? Like, I don't know, you there was an inspirational athlete. You you worked like you said, you worked at the gym. Like, did the gym owner kind of give you some words of wisdom into like setting up this business? Like, why was it specifically fitness that you loved?
Well, it's I playing sports and being that competitive, you know, state of mind, and trying to win, and always, since I was younger, being in judo and soccer back home, or we call it football, and then playing basketball in high school, and it just I loved it so much, but I wasn't good enough to play on the next level, in college level. So what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. So I ended up coaching them. So it was like, I feel it was my calling. I have a lot of patience when it comes to coaching people, and guiding them through steps. It can be, the fitness can be very intimidating, from somebody that's just starting out, to we have professional athletes that they come and hire us because they want to take their body to the next level. So from setting up the strength conditioning workouts to setting up the meal plans to providing the right cues at the right time. I feel like it was my calling, man. It just comes natural to me. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm working. It's like almost like a hobby. And then I enjoy. I love every second of it. When I can't see myself doing anything else besides that.
Perfect. But you also said like it's not just your fitness coach, you own a gym. Can you tell us how that happened?
Right. So I was in a corporate world. So the only regret I have is I wish I opened it sooner. So sometimes you get in these like ruts, almost like it's you feel like, and I get this from a lot of my colleagues that are still kind of in that corporate world of just training people and doing personal training and membership sales for those gyms. You kind of start losing yourself, start losing that passion. So kind of took a step back. I said, okay, so am I going to stay in this fitness thing? And for me to be happy, there's certain ways and things I want to do to, provide better service, to actually care about the member. And I decided to open my own place. I went from making really, really good money to like nothing, zero, so it took me a while to get back to that number. But I looked at myself in the mirror. I said, man, the money's not an issue. I'm not happy with what I'm doing here. So it was almost like I was forced to make a decision because that corporate world kind of got to me a little bit.
I feel like there's two kind of people. There's the people who they can work for someone else and the people who just it has to be their own thing.
Right.
Is that you?
I would
Because like
say,
you were working for the other gyms, but then it wasn't your own piece.
yeah, I would say so. The issues with these corporate gyms, and I kind of give you a little bit of kind of behind the closed doors, is the only thing they care about is the bottom number. So let's say you go to one of these local gyms, they sell you a membership, and then I mean that's it. They don't care anymore if you see results, if you don't, And then when you see this happening every single day, you just like start questioning like, what am I doing with my life, So, and it wasn't like I wasn't good with my managers or anything like that. I have my great relationship with most of those people still, but I feel like I needed to, make a change to make a right for the member and help those people actually feel like they are important and help them get to the next level. So it's yeah, I would say that just kind of pushed me over the edge to open my own place.
Yeah, so you wanted to improve lives, make people happier. You didn't just want to sell Christmas memberships
Right.
that really kind of go nowhere
Right.
statistically.
Yeah. Yeah, the average membership is, I believe, 2 months. And then the most members that we've seen in those corporate gyms is between the like January 1st and the end of the first 3 weeks of the January. After that, it just kind of dips back to like normal numbers.
But why do they give up basically? Because it is just giving up. You what like what? How come it's on New Year's? Because it's not really Christmas. It's New Year's. You feel
Right.
inspired and you're like, New Year, new me. You buy
Right.
this gym membership. Maybe some people don't even end up at the gym. They buy it online. They never show up. Like
Yes.
why do they just buy it, go and just give up?
I would say there's
Statistically.
few things. I would say from what I've seen is discipline. It has nothing to do with motivation. Like me and you can get really like motivated and say, okay, we're gonna, hey RJ, let's go for like a 5 mile run. Like we'll watch David Goggins or one of these guys that are out there and we just knock it out. But then I'll call you the next day. I'm like, all right, George, you ready for another five? Like, all right, let's do it. And then you call me the third day, like, are you ready for that? Man, I don't know. Let's push it to maybe next week. So I think people lack, especially our generation, millennials, that I've seen is they lack that discipline because everybody gets motivated. They get, the butterflies kicking in, but then once that motivation phases off, the discipline is non-existent, so they end up quitting. And another big factor, I would say, education. People don't know what they're doing in the gym. So there's no structure. They don't follow a program. Most of the time, the form is all over the place. And I mean, we can talk about nutrition. I mean, there's so many things out there from all these, fat diets and all these quick schemes that people are just confused, in my opinion. So I would say those two things are the biggest reasons why people quit within 2 to 3 weeks from starting that new journey.
Yeah, for sure. I do think like it's the case, where motivation can only go so far. It's not really motivation if it's consistent. Motivation is more like a one-off,
Right.
but you got to make the working out a habit.
Yeah.
It's not like something you're aspiring to do. It's just something you do. Like finish.
Right.
That's your life.
Right.
And you said about it with the diet. The diet can't just be like a temporary thing. You just can't eat junk anymore. There's got to be your life.
Right.
But I do want to get more into that, like the whole discipline versus motivation thing. That's I feel is very inherent in our generation. But I still want to get some crazy gym stories from you. Being a gym owner, do you deal with like the ego lifters? Do you deal with the weight slammers? Do you deal with like the people like they're videotaping themselves more than they actually lift? Like what weird? Do you have any funny stories for us before we get into like the deeper
Oh,
topics?
I have so many, man. Like most of this stuff happened in my last job. My current members, like I don't have memberships where people can come in and work out. So all the members that come to our facility, it's one-on-one or like a buddy training. So we don't just let randoms come in and train because it's a headache. And I'll tell you why it's a
Yeah,
headache. That ego you mentioned. So you get guys that are slamming weights, and there's rules in the gym. It's don't slam weights. You go damage the equipment. And there's there's few times I have to approach these guys, and you professional at first, hey, my name is RJ, nice to meet you, man. Like few things that just to kind of cover the policy we have here. I can't have you slamming weights. One, it's going to damage the equipment, but it's also making too much noise. It's not good for the other members, and they start going back and forth. This is not RJ Gym. This is whatever the name of the that place is.
yeah, the corporate gym.
And then then I go into science. I'm a science geek, so then I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I start breaking down the form. I'm like, now that you have an ego, I'm gonna kind of level you down, because you're being disrespectful. So I'm not gonna throw my hands and fight you here, but I'm gonna use my education to kind of at least help you and open your mind. So maybe a year from now, you'll be like, okay, this guy made sense. So most of the time, like those slamming weights and stuff, the form is all over the place. So I have them do it the right way without slamming weights. And I'm like, okay, did you feel it more in your muscles? Like, man, I did feel it more in my muscles. But 90% of the time they won't admit that. So we had that. We had a guy who was running backwards on a treadmill, tripped, hit the treadmill, flew out. It was like one of the movies, like a slingshot. So we all ran over there, right? And he was embarrassed, so he started running outside of the gym. So we started chasing him to make sure that he's
That's
okay.
more embarrassing.
Yeah, so it was like he was like, man, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm like, I understand, but we have to write an incident report to make sure. So we had that. We have girls that like they asked to like during the days the lights were usually off, but they asked if we can turn the main lights on because the camera they want to have the perfect lighting. So when they're training, it hits the muscles, the glutes from a good angle.
Yeah.
So we had those people as well. So most of the time I just flip the light on and I just go about my day. I'm not gonna sit there and argue with them, just make them happy. But there's stories like that, man. It's like you just on your way home driving, you're like, man, what happened today? But thankfully in my gym it's not that extreme, but we had some we had some incidents too that
Yeah,
are
because I'm asking because I'm always on my phone, which is a problem in itself. But like I'm always like flipping through like crazy gym fails, crazy gym clips. Like, did you ever just like watch a guy like I don't know what he's doing. He's got the rubber bands. He's got like barbells, dumbbells. He put like a little weight in his. He's holding a little weight in his jaw. He's balancing on like those half balls. And like you're looking at this guy and you're like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Oh, we had that. I actually was one of my last job, one of my coaches. So we were having a meeting, and then the two coaches the biggest divas, and they have the biggest egos. So one of the guys says, I can definitely bench more than you, and the other guy's like, no, you can't, right? So the one guy pushed a certain way, and the other guy he went on and pushed the way, got stuck, right?
Ah,
And his legs started moving up and down, and then the guy that was they were training with he was just laughing so hard he couldn't lift the weight. So a few guys in the gym kind of came in, lifted up. He was safe and everything, but Yeah, we had that with a coach happen. This is he we call that getting buried. And then once that, from my experience, because it happened to me as well. Because when you max it out, thankfully I had a spotter to lift it off. But when you're pushing that last rep, you're just trying to kind of squeeze it through. You just can't lift it. The weight comes down. It doesn't hit you hard. You still control it. But once that bar hits the like chest and lungs, it just makes you laugh. So you're dying, but you're laughing. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
So we had, those things happen as well
Yeah,
that
but
are kind
that's
of,
terrifying because there's a lot of guys, they work alone in their home, like garage gym.
yes,
And like, bro, you're alone, you got no spotter, and you're trying to max out like your weight.
yeah, it's bad.
Ah, I appreciate yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
like there's a lot a ton of scary
some,
stories out there.
some of those are really funny, but some of them you can tell they really got hurt, and then, but my stomach can just handle so much, and then
Hmm.
just kind of turn it off. But there's some people can sit there watch it all day long, more power to them. But yeah, there's some crazy stuff out there, man. Some people try to do things that are not, you know, not thinking at times.
Yeah, it's again, it's the whole ego thing.
Yes.
But yeah, last thing I want to ask you. So you own your own gym, and with all businesses, there is some like tough stuff that can make or break you. What kind of challenges were you facing running your own gym?
Well, we've been very successful since day one. It's like if you look at our numbers and the profit has been going up, and we were profitable within the 8 months of our business, and currently we have no debt. So we've been really, really lucky and fortunate to have good members that trust us with their bodies. But the biggest thing was the COVID, man. We were closed for 3 months down here in Florida, in Clearwater. Thankfully, it would reopen and everything. But that was a big challenge because we lost close to $42,000 for those 3 months, and that takes a toll on your business and your bottom line. So I would say
Yeah,
that was the biggest thing in my opinion. Everything else like marketing, getting clients, that kind of came easy to us.
yeah, because I'm guessing what the taxes didn't stop during the pandemic, the bills didn't stop, the overhead, the insurance.
Yeah, you have to pay for all of that, of course, if you want to stay open. So, and then we a lot of gyms charge their clients. We didn't. We decided not to because you didn't know what was going to happen that moment. So it was like, okay, I don't want to take money away from people and not knowing their situation, and not, God forbid, not for them not to have, to put, food on the table and stuff. So we stopped all our payments when we were told to close, and I think that was the biggest challenge. And we kind of sat back afterwards and were like, man, we survived this. I mean, we're gonna be just fine. So scary, but thankfully that's behind us.
So yeah, so that was your make it and break it. Then break you. You
Right.
guys became tougher. So is it like kind of the mentality of like it can't really get any worse than this?
Yes, I would say so. I mean, just being closed for 3 months. I mean, and God forbid something happens health wise, knock on wood. But yeah, I mean, that was, I sat with my wife. Because I got engaged in 2019 December, and we had our wedding planned for September 12th of 2020. So we sat back like, man, like the gym is closed, right? We're like, okay, well, we're getting married. We had 22 people at our wedding. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then, but it all worked itself out, man. So I'm glad. I'm me personally. I don't shy away from challenges. I like challenges. I feel like it makes you tougher mentally, physically. And then when those little things come up, they really don't matter. I feel like people stress and worry about little things in life. They don't really look at the big picture of life that could be really, really worse.
Right. I do agree with that. But I'm glad we established the story so far. So you're a fitness coach, you own a gym, you see a lot of people trying to improve their bodies. So it's safe to say you kind of got a taste for what's going on out there with the generation, because that's why I want to have you on. I
Hmm.
want to talk about our generation, like millennials, Gen Z, maybe even some of the older generation, where I feel like as a whole demographic around the world, we're just not healthy with our bodies. Like we're always on our phones, we're always on the computers, we work from home or we work sitting down, so our joints are all messed up. Me personally, I got a messed up neck, messed up lower back, messed up knee. It gives me a lot of problems. And then also, like, we have a bunch of people who just don't, I don't think they're working out as much as they should be. They're not going out on nature walks. They're not jogging. They're not lifting at the gym. They're not doing aerobics or any of that stuff. Again, they're just sitting at home gaming and doing nothing. And then what are they doing when they sit at home? They junk eat, you know? And
Right.
like, like fair enough, healthy food is expensive. Good luck
Right.
buying some veg or some fruits out there. But like, they just order on Uber Eats every day, sugars, trans fats, hormones, all that stuff in the food. So like from so many different directions, I would say I would make the assumption that our generation has got to be like the least healthy generation so far. Is
I,
that something, like, with your expertise and experience, is that something you'd agree with?
I would say so. The we do have our generation has more tools, and I feel like the social media has, and the internet and stuff kind of gives you some people that want to learn. It gives them a ability to kind of research and look things up and kind of maybe learn and apply it. Um, but I would say so, yeah. And millennials, our age, man, it's just people are so lazy and they expect everything to be given to them. Nobody wants to work hard. I mean, in a workplace, when you take somebody that's, let's say, 40 to 50, 55 years old compared to somebody between that's like, let's say, 25 to 30, I believe that's whatever the cutoff is there. It's night and day. Like the older people are much more driven, but they are lacking the education and the skills to apply most of the time. So I feel like every generation has its strengths and weaknesses, but definitely ours is, I would say, is they're very lazy and kind of almost kind of laid back and expecting others to do things for them instead of taking action and charge to, um, get their life in order and accomplish whatever goals they have.
But like, this is what I will actually push back on, because to the viewers out there, whenever you watch a video of mine, I do kind of talk about this cause and effect thing for our generation. So I want to ask, like, is it that we are late? Is it that we are lazy? Okay, how do I say this? Are we lazy, or do we just not have any motivation? Like, we kind of just feel like we're in a slump, hopeless. We don't have any energy. Because
I
when
think
I
just
look at my dad's generation,
right.
they didn't have PE in our sense. Their life was PE. They
Right.
were playing, I guess if you're in the States, you're playing baseball or American football. My dad, he grew up in the Middle East, so he was always into like volleyball and tennis. Like, that's how they had fun. That
Right.
wasn't a chore. It wasn't training. It was like, yo, bro, I'm bored. Let's go like hit the tennis court or something.
Right.
But then like we have this generation where like I feel like we kind of got off on the wrong foot the way we were raised by our parents, because we don't have PE anymore.
Hmm.
But like, a kid did not make that decision. A kid cannot go to the school and be like, I don't want to do PE. Parents kind of made that decision for the kids. They're the ones who kind of put the pressure on the schools to remove PE. And like, whereas back in my dad's time, like, parents, I felt, were more active with their kids growing up, like encouraging them to take up sports and stuff. Now I feel our parents we're so busy in their corporate life. They're like, here's a Game Boy, be distracted. And
Right.
even now, like, I feel like you've seen some parents who are like, here's an iPad, leave me alone.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's like a norm these days. So I mean, I see your point. I see your point. But then there was this cool picture I looked at. They took a picture of the millennials in the subway, like texting and stuff,
Mhm.
right? And it said, "This generation is lost," basically. And then like the next slide was older generation back in the day reading newspapers with the head down.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, there's some truth to kind of both sides and stuff, but not having peeing in most schools, I think that's definitely a big problem. Um, but yeah, I think just it just and then I'm not sure how much is this in Canada, but down here I feel like the with social media, whatever trends and movements are happening, the people kind of buy into that. it's almost and I hate to say it, but it's like everybody's seeking for that, like the victim mentality. It's like to blame others and not
Mm.
taking charge of their lives. So and it's more amplified because people share these stories on social medias or on posts on X, on whatever, TikTok, whatever people use these days. um, well, compared to back in the day, it wasn't that way. And then you know, we you know, being, you know, the having the Orthodox background, where we come from is there's a lot of pride in the last name and being a good person and a good student and kind of following that old way of doing things, which sometimes can, you know, you have to adapt and, you know, to what society has kind of moved. You can't be stuck in those days as well. And I feel like our parents sometimes don't understand that, which could lead to some millennials being lost and kind of held back to a degree, if that makes sense.
It does.
That so there's a lot of factors, but um, me personally, like I try to, you know, take a step back and I'm like, okay, so what am I doing with my time that's causing me not to be productive, not to you know, grow my business, not to, you know, spend time with my families, you know, play with my kids. So um, I feel like you have to be a little bit more of present. Everything is kind of, what can I do tomorrow? Go, go, go. What happened in past? People dwell on that, but I feel like we'll lose that focus of now, and then it eventually just kind of snowballs and becomes worse and worse and worse. So, yeah,
Right. I agree with what you're saying, how we need to take ownership, but like the way I would describe it is this is we got to recognize what happened to us or like how we were raised. You know what? Not what other people did to us, because like that makes it more like they attacked us, but like more like how our parents raised us. We got to recognize like the goods, the bads, so that way we kind of avoid the bads with the future generations. The way we were raised is, I feel like our parents, like, PE was just a fact of life for them. Being healthy was a fact of life. You know, back in Lebanon, at least in the 70s, 60s, 80s, being fat was rare, you know.
right,
Only the rich were fat. But I think they just didn't realize how you know, school I think they didn't realize schools didn't kind of teach the same stuff anymore in terms
right.
of like physical fitness. But and again, I also agree with the other part, which is like, to use some poker analogy, you can be. Do you play poker, by the way?
Oh yeah,
Texas?
bad luck. Yeah,
Yeah, like you
Y-
can be dealt a 2 and a 7 unsuited,
yes,
and it sucks,
yes.
but you can still win with a 2 and a 7.
I love that.
You know, not your. So it's like it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that. I
So
like that.
before we get more into that part of it, I want to ask like the bad side of our generation, the bad joints, the bad posture, being fat or being skinny fat. You know, it's like you're skinny but you're still fat.
Mm.
Do you see these types of people at your gym
Yeah,
starting out?
most people that come to us, they most people, I would say, good 80 to 85% do want to lose weight. That's the first thing that come out of their mouth. I want to lose weight. I want to get back to what I was in high school or college. But then, you know, I dig in more, trying to figure out what other goals they have, and then I kind of bring them back to what they really should be focused on, is losing that body fat percentage. Like when you said, you know, some people that are skinny but then still have a belly, you know, so because the body fat is elevated, and you know, we got to fix that first. So yeah, so I would say good 80 85%, and the rest of them are most people, I mean, we have, like I mentioned earlier, athletes that are, they know what they're doing, but they need that push and that structure to get to that next level, especially these pros that we train. So you have, but then you see the you know, general population then interacting with the pros, you know, and then now they go to the events, and you know, and then now that mentality of that pro and that person working so hard, that's kind of rubbing off on that person that's skinny and that has a little belly. So we created this environment where no matter what, however people come in, we try to help them make better health decisions with foods and working out, and then kind of get them to start taking charge of their fitness and their life.
Do you also learn like their stories, like kind of like what motivated them, like what finally motivated them to go to the gym, and also
Yes.
kind of like what was their general crappy lifestyle before
Yes. Number one motivation is looking good, feeling good for the opposite sex, or whatever
getting
people.
laid?
Yeah. So basically, that's I would say that's the most important part.
Say no
You
more.
Yeah, you have husband. Look, man, I got a belly. I got a. My wife is fit. I can't be out of shape next to her. We're very social. I'll let myself go. Get me there. So I would say that's a number one motivator is people um, trying to look good, feel good, and leads to being attractive. Then there's probably a good 10-15% of people that have issues with like you mentioned, you have neck, back, knee issues. So people have those that they want to wake up in the morning not being in pain. So we have those clients as well, but most of the time it's just I want to feel good and look good, and how I get there I don't care, I just want to be there.
And what kind of people do you like encounter? Like, is it students? Is it office employees? Is it just like their parents kind of dumped them off at the gym and paid for their membership? Like, what
Right.
kind of what kind of people do you see like kind of going for that?
Yeah, it's a good mixture. I would say the range that we see the most is between 25 and I would say 50, kind of in that. Mostly women. Um, Women care more about their health and fitness than men, 100%. I would. I mean, you can pull up any numbers you want to. It's. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I will pick a female client over a male client any day, any day. I mean, it's because they truly care about and they want to learn. So I would say that range 25 to 50. We do have athletes that come in, high school kids. Usually they can't afford the training, so parents do cover that. But with those kids, we set a strong foundation that hey, we're not here to mess around, we're not here to make waste your time or your parents money. So with the high school kids, college kids, it's very simple: yes sir, no sir, end of the story. Like, we don't go back and forth, hey, what's up buddy, what's up coach, none of that. No, we're here to put in work. So but yeah, the I would the where we at, it's the environment is a good mix of everybody. But yeah, I would say 25 to 50. And we have probably, man, like anywhere between 40 to 45 nurses that we train. Yeah.
Nurses?
Oh, yeah. Medical
Why?
field. Nurses. Nurses, real estate agents, a lot of business owners. Yeah. That I would say that's yeah.
But like when you're talking about like athletes, people whose parents send them there, nurses, real estate owners, real estate people, business owners, what comes to my mind is like this is a lot of people who they can afford a membership, or like after the end of their shift or their work, they have the time to like focus on their bodies. So for me, like it makes it seem like that's a bit of a luxury. Do you think like personal fitness is a luxury? Like you can't really expect like a factory worker or a guy who works 9 to 5 but commutes 3 hours, barely has enough time for sleep. Like, can you really expect those guys to go to the gym and improve their life, or finish their trapped in that
Yes.
cycle?
Have those people, man. We have people that get up early, and then so usually, let's say if you work 9 to 5, we have those people that come in at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, and those people that are, it's one of the those people that grasp the opportunity to get fit and maintain it. I would say more than somebody that's extremely rich, because that rich person is like, okay, well, I can afford this. It's almost like just addition to their lifestyle. Once they're in the circles of friends, it's like, hey, I have a strength conditioning coach that I work with, or I have a nutritionist, or I have a masseuse, or I have I do my acupuncture, I have a massage person that comes to my house. But people that can't afford as much, that have those regular jobs, kind of the middle class, the poor class, those people I would say is our hardest workers and the ones that see the most results. So it's I wouldn't say that it can't afford it. It's sometimes it takes a little bit of budgeting for them to figure out that this is something that's important, that it can use to kind of jumpstart their career and do something else down the road.
But is that like the only reason they're not coming to the gym, or do you feel like there's a bigger issue with like the mentality of these generations that's just kind of holding them back from not being, respectfully, from not being like lazy weenies.
Right. Well, all like I would say like men have that ego. So I can have somebody that's maybe worked out like let's say for a year, like, and I call that beginner because most of the time they don't track their workouts, they don't track their weights, they got no idea how many calories they're consuming. And if it's a male, 9 out of 10 times they're not interested in coach because of the ego, right? Now, females on the other end is like, okay, I want to look good, I want to feel good. I want to get in my dress, my bikini. We're living on a beach here, literally. So they care, regardless of what the age is. But the men, even though they need it and they want to get fit, they don't want to work with a professional because of the ego.
They think it's enough just to order some weights off Amazon and just like,
Knock it out.
oh, today I'm doing 50, tomorrow I'll do 60. I'll max out every time.
Yes.
Who needs legs? I don't care about working out my legs. I just those big arms, baby. And is that what you see? Like, because that
Yeah.
that was me when I was a kid. Like I had like I had like the chicken legs. All I did was arms. That's all I cared about. Like every time in the mirror, I just flex my arms, but
Right.
like nothing else was good. Pecs was okay because guys always love to kill the dumbbells or
Right.
barbells. Yeah, but
Yes.
like we had no concept of triceps. We had no concept of lats. We had no concept of glutes. We had no concept of like just like shins. We didn't care. We just wanted, because that was my, when I was a kid. It was when the mobile camera came out,
Right. 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 Right.
before the touch screens. Like young people have no clue how it was before the cameras came out, and then
Look.
when those cameras came in, those little Nokias or like Samsung or Sony Ericsson. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, we just worked out the arms. We just want to get huge, and then just take pics of it. And because there's no social media, we just like show everybody on the phone.
Yes, yes, that was basically it. Yeah, that's funny. Now thinking about back in the day, you had a flip phone, and then like you have to like type in with your little fingers and try
Oh
to
my god,
game it in. It's good
they
old
don't know
days.
the struggle.
Yeah, they
Did
don't.
you did you did you ever follow Ziz?
I did not know.
Do you remember who he was, Ziz?
I got no idea what that is now.
He was like the original. He was like the original Instagram. Do you know Joe Aesthetic? R.I.P. He passed away recently.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know you're talking about the shredder guy that had was it?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away a few months back. But
Yeah, yeah.
Ziz was the Joe Aesthetic of like the 2008, 2009.
Wow.
Like guys would share photos of him because he was always shredded. He was like in
Right.
Australia, and they would share him all around Facebook and stuff. And that was when like people started getting really into eight packs. Do you remember like like late 2000, early, like 2010, people were like super into abs
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
nothing else,
Yes.
not arms, not legs, just abs.
Yeah, it was like a big ab trend. I remember those days. Yeah.
Yeah, like bro, like in my high school at the time, like guys would just like it they argue it was perfectly straight, but like when you got like 8, 13-year olds, 14-year-olds in the high school like bathroom just like checking out each other's abs and taking pictures of each other, there's a bit of an issue there.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that. But I
I
guess
completely forgot my point about this.
I guess you get a good feedback. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. I was in college those days. Yeah, because it's the pool parties are very important. So what we used to do is like the pool party was like let's say at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll go in the morning. We'll eat a good breakfast. We'll get some carbs in our system. We'll get pumped up out of our minds, and then we'll go to the pool party. We spend about 30, 45 minutes there because the pump goes away, and then you just bounce. So you try
Yeah.
to connect as many people as possible and then get out of there. But it was a good old days. It was all about abs at that point. Yeah. But
But it's still kind of about that these days, and I kind of want to actually like get into this topic. It's a bit of distraction from the main topic, but I want to talk about it. Do you feel that do you feel like these fitness influencers are actually like making a big change in terms of how our generation views fitness? Like it's making it like a nice fashion, a nice trend, or is it
right.
just like oh, people will like those images but they won't work out?
I feel like the second point you mentioned, that's usually the case. We had that was a if you guys go and look at Dr. Bill Campbell. He was my professor at USF, but he gives out like a lot of research about fitness, how to do it correctly, nutrition, like what research shows. And when you compare his following to somebody that just posts, you know, big arms, chest, it's like night and day. So I feel like people like the idea of looking like that guy or girl, right? But actually taking action, it's totally different story. Now it all depends on
Mhm.
the information. So if you see that somebody that's really fit, like the current Olympia, I believe is C Bum. I mean, you see that guy,
Chris Bumstead. He's a Canadian.
it's a good guy, yeah. But one of my really good friends. He worked at the gym where he used to work out before his last prep, and he says one of the most down earth guys you'll meet in your life. Like really, really cool.
Mhm.
So what like on social media and YouTube, that's basically who he is in real life. But if you use somebody like for him, like, for example, that like has a coach, that has a nutritionist, that does everything correctly, focuses on what research is showing, what he's putting in his body, the recovery. Like he's a good example of somebody that's super fit. He's basically the goat of bodybuilding at this point. He's winning everything.
Yeah, he's the
Um,
current Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah. So if you use him as like a motivation, I would say that would be a good influencer. But most of these guys, when you look at them, it's like, okay, like what is your background? One, like what are you selling? What are you on? Because it
Yeah,
takes
natty.
I would
If they're natty or not.
oh yeah, it's I would say a good 90-95% of them are out there, man. It's bad. And if you go to these local gyms, most of those guys are on something too.
Yeah, and it's not really health; it's aesthetics.
Yes, they don't care, and they're never
Yeah.
happy. They're never happy. Like they always want to get bigger. They always want to be more shredded. They're
Mhm.
never happy. Like that's the one issue with the bodybuilding and like having like shredded abs. They always want to be like extra 10-15 pounds bigger and still be that fit. And then it's like a cycle. It's and I've seen it. It's scary, man. And some people really go down to that the deep hole of even depression because they're not as big as like say C Bum or some of these guys that are out there.
Yeah, but do you feel like also like it's they because they just want to look like it without that much of the hard work? Do you think they're just taking shortcuts? Like, look, I like Chris Bumstead. I follow his social media. I also like other like muscle. I call them the muscle influencers. Like, do you know Joel? He's the guy
Joel,
who's always like, "Let me explain."
no,
Like
I don't.
he's got like the South African accent. He's like, "Let me explain."
No, I haven't seen that. I gotta send me him. I gotta look him up now.
Yeah, but like like these guys, like I feel like young people are following these guys, and if you look at these guys, let's be honest, RJ, they're on roids.
Yeah,
You
they are.
know,
Yeah,
they're on
heavy
P
stuff,
E
man.
I P E. I don't know the I forgot the acronym, but like
EDs, yeah,
yeah, like they're on something. They're not natural, and even a lot of them admit they're not natural. Like,
yeah,
do you feel like the problem is like the young people or the people our generation are going more towards these unnatural guys rather than like going to a guy like you mentioned, David Goggins?
yes. But I mean, most of them open about it as well. So they go online and
Mhm.
they talk about what they've taken. So if I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, I just worked out for 6 months in the gym. I'm not seeing any results, right? Let's say if I'm trying to get dates, I'm a freshman, sophomore in college, and I'm successful. Well, let me try this. Let's see what happens. And that's when you start getting in big trouble because they just take it without knowing the science and steps and not getting doctors involved. So it can get really scary really fast, man. And a lot of people overdose.
Mhm.
They end up losing their minds. They get hurt really really bad. Yeah, it's scary, man. That's the one of the things with the social media and having access to it that anybody can see it and apply it, but like a lot of people benefit, but I would say there's more people that don't than they do.
I feel like the problem with the social media is like I don't know if this was the case in your childhood. It
Mhm.
wasn't the case in my childhood either. But like I feel like before you would be competing with people in your own town, on your own street.
Yes.
Like no one was like at the peak on your own street. You
100%.
worked yourself, you worked yourself you to be the best in your school,
Yes.
then the best in the school district, then the best in the city, then the best in the state, best in the
Yes.
country. Like you
Yes.
took steps, you got to the top, you say, "Oh, whoa, look, there's another guy at the same level of me but a different area. I got to beat him." But now
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of discouragement because you're on Instagram, you're on the internet, you're seeing people who are already at the top. You're not
Right.
seeing any of their struggles, like any of the hard work, and you're like, "Holy crap!" Either I want you go about it two ways. Either I take a shortcut which is like the steroids or like ego lifting and all that stuff to try to look like that,
Right.
or you're like, you know what, this is just unattainable. It's not even like something I could feasibly do. So I just won't even try.
Yeah, it's scary, man. And I don't know why that is. It's like why people want to take a shortcut. I just don't. That's the one thing that sometimes is
Mm.
hard for me to comprehend. It's I don't know. Maybe they never. Maybe they haven't failed enough. Maybe failing is good. It teaches you a lesson to you know like try something else. I just don't know why that is, man. Everybody wants that quick fix. Everybody, like, even with people that I train sometimes, like, well, how fast can I get to my abs? I'm like, well, why does that have to be fast? Like, why not learn to how to get there, how to maintain it, so we're not doing a yo-yo, get fit, gain weight, get fit, gain weight. So I don't know why that is, man. It's kind of scary, but and I feel like the as the social media is expanding, it's almost like a universe just expanding. I think it's going to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Like I don't see it getting better because like exactly what you said. They know those guys are taking steroids.
Right.
But instead of saying like me when I see that, I'm like, yeah, man, this guy's taking shortcuts. Why would I follow him?
Right. That's
I'm
why I don't.
seeing my baby cousins tell me, yeah, but steroids isn't a big deal anymore. Everyone's taking them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll only take him for a while. Like,
That's
excuse me?
guys, man. That's why I don't follow them. Most people that I follow that are fitness are research based. Like they talk about exercise
Mhm.
science. Let's say you do a B, and C. This is why you're doing it. So that way I can go and look at those articles. I'm like, okay, what he's saying is not BS. It's truth. It's factual. But most people that even if you tell them, hey, this is the research, like, no, what's the fastest way I can get there? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's people too young to realize there's consequences. Like if you asked Ronnie Coleman when he was young, you never imagine he's in a wheelchair now.
Yeah, he's been through I don't know how many surgeries,
Surgeries.
but it's very very scary. Uh,
Yeah, and like it's depressing to look at. Like so basically like let's say my baby cousins for example, at that age they're too young to realize there's consequences.
mhm,
And then because they're not like on a team themselves like at school, because they're not like training with their parents or doing hard work, they don't realize like they don't realize that there's a lot of bad stuff to a person taking a shortcut.
right.
Because if you see like that buff person online, you don't realize that if you try to do 100 reps a day, you're going to break a joint.
Yeah, and then it's like, what do I do now? And then they start seeking the right way to do it. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't blame them though, because that's what they know, like the fast stuff. Like they see a picture of a guy who already, like Dan Bilzerian. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah,
They already see Dan Bilzerian with the girls.
right.
So then in their mind, they're picturing themselves. They want a girl tomorrow.
That's crazy.
So like it's again, it's the shortcut, it's the fast validation and all that. But yeah, so like I kind of want to get back into the generation, and I kind of want to make it a positive thing because we've kind of been talking about like consequences, negatives, downsides, and all that. When you see like these young people at the gym or like just other people at the gym, sure you see, and they start working out, you see them get thinner, you see them get buffer, you see them get like healthier. What else do you notice with them? Like what's happening in their personal life? What's happening to their personality? Like what other benefits are there when they decide like, hey, I don't want to be a weenie anymore?
Right. A lot of confidence, man. It's We have guys that are like in the mid 20s and stuff. They come to us a little bit out of shape, but then usually they come in shy, they don't talk to other people. Kind of they do their, we train them, they stretch, do cardio, they bounce. But then you can start, once they start getting fit, they can start seeing them like open up more and talk to people and kind of share their life stories. So we've seen a lot of people just confidence kind of go through a roof basically. Feeling good, the energy changes as well. They're much happier. They end up um, like coming to us is like, man, like, thank you guys for like helping me get to this level. Like, what can I do to help you guys grow this business? They send their, friends, buddy referrals. So I've seen a lot of that, man. And but that's what kind of gives me that satisfaction. And going back, why I left my last job to open my own place, because that's how it should be. People seeing results, changing, feeling better, being confident to, let's say if you're a single guy and then you see a pretty girl in a bar or a club, whatever these kids do these days, to approach and say, hey, my name is RJ, I saw you across the room, I had to come over here and say hi and introduce myself, so just to give them that self-esteem, so not only they feel much healthier and fitter, but it can also attack other things they want to do in life, if it's relationships or business or just getting that promotion at their job.
Do you feel like it's safe to say working out and fitness is like a gateway drug? Well, not it's not actually a drug, but like it's a gateway drug to better things. Because look, it's a recurring theme in my podcasts where I just complain. That's the
Right.
thing I do. I complain. It's kind of people keep saying, George, why you keep complaining? Why can't you be positive? I'm like, bro, I'm a negative dude. Like my guests are the positive ones. So
Right.
like back to the point, like I can't afford a house right now. I can't start a family right now.
Right.
I'm pretty single right now. Like I don't know if you guys notice I have a cat. I'm not
Right.
saying that has anything to do with anything, but like
He's right there.
there's a image that comes with cats.
Right.
Yeah. So like and like it feels very difficult for me to like go after those things at this point in my life so that
Mhm.
I can see like some improvement in the way I live. But I
Right.
feel like when it comes to working out, you can start that now for free. Or, if you want to pay for like RJ's expertise, get way better results and a better system. But like, I feel like that's something you can change now.
Right.
You can stop eating crap right now. You can start doing push ups right now. Like, again, it shouldn't be a motivation thing, it should be a discipline thing. But like, this is something you can do right now. And you cannot give yourself the excuse it's impossible.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. But little steps like that, you start building momentum, to a better life, to do other things, to uh, try to explore different avenues, if it's building up your business or whatever it is. So I always tell people to, like, don't overthink things, like when it comes to this, like fitness or just life in general. Like, write down your goals. You say, okay, let's say if you want to lose 10 pounds, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, so let's say today is what, 17th. By, I don't know, by the February 1st, I want to go from 210 to 200. Like, set that little goal, and then what can I do to get there, and slowly start working towards it. Now, if you fail, it's fine, but don't give up. Maybe like reflect on things that you did wrong. I got invited to a Christmas party, and then I had these cookies, and then I gained a pound, and that's it. So like, I feel like you taking those little initiative steps, because it's like you said, it is free. You can do push-ups, you can go for walks, you can do pull-ups, you can do crunches, you can watch what you eat. You don't have to eat a cookie every single day. The snowball effect happens. You can start seeing more results and more positive changes in your life.
Yeah. And what do you see like opening up to? I'm gonna keep it more related to myself. What do you see opening? What opportunities do you see opening up to like young guys who start working out? Like, what are the changes?
But think about just the energy. Like, the energy is everything, in my opinion. Like, the way you carry yourself. Like, let's say if you say you're single, if you want to meet a girl and talk to her and stuff like that, I feel like you'll have more confidence to approach her. Um, or let's say you want to reach out to some celebrity, bring them to your podcast or whatever it is. Like, if I feel like that's for me, and Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, says it, like, for it's like an anchor. Like, he anchors me down, right? There's days when I'm stressed about my business. I'm worrying about, like, okay, if this lead is going to come through, or if we're going to be able to close on this auction to get a new equipment for the gym. Like, but then I'm like, okay, let me take a step back, take a deep breath, recover. Let me get my workout in. I calm myself down. I'll feel good afterwards. It gives me a positive energy, and then I can attack the rest of the day knowing that there's something positive I've done today. So even if I fail for the rest of the day, at the end of the day, I can put a little check mark on that workout, and then I can just kind of go on to the next day with some more confidence.
100%. So basically, life does get better in more ways than just fitness.
100%.
Mm.
Just one step at a time. And one step at a time. Even if you just, like, try this. Do 10 push-ups. Like, when you first thing you wake up, do 10 push-ups. Boom, boom, boom. Let's say at the end of the night, like, man, I couldn't use my kettlebells today. I had a podcast. I do some editing, whatever it was. You've done those 10 push-ups early in the morning. It's at least something positive to get your day started, and it will lead to other positive things.
Yeah. Because, like, just to give like a bit of my own story in this, like, there are days where I do feel bad, but like I told you before, like, I am starting to work out a bit more regularly now. I do the push-ups, the tricep ups, the planks, and
Hmm.
like some other steel mace stuff. And I notice I will have bad days, and I'll be like, I'll feel like depressed, I'll look in the mirror, I'll be like, who's this loser? And I'll be like, okay, I do feel like crap, but damn, looking at this mirror, I do like the way my shoulders look.
Right, right. Get a little
So, like,
pump.
it already takes me away from the depression.
Good.
Because, like, I truly feel there's no such thing as a fit loser.
Right,
Because no one's born fit. Like, fit is not a default setting. It's something you work hard to get, to achieve
right,
for yourself, to be a fit person. So if you are fit, like, there's just no way you can, like, feel like a failure. And if it stops you from feeling like a failure, it if it stops you from, like, just feeling like crap, that means you have a lot more motivation for other things, like you said, like starting the business, talking with women.
right,
Because again, I do feel like women are noticing me more now. And then, once your whole mood is a whole lot better because you are working out, then you can, like, work on your projects, be it like a podcast or a business or trying to get promoted or whatever it is you want to do. Like, I do feel like fitness is the gateway drug to happiness or
right,
to better things. And
right.
that's why, like, I have a lot of respect for you, RJ, because you are helping people get there, not just quicker, but safer.
Safer, right. And if you think about it, it's the one thing you can control today. Like, like, for example, this podcast we have plans for today. If something came up, a flat tire, something came up, then we have to reschedule. You let's say you have a date, and you're like, man, like, I gotta go see my parents. I gotta talk to them. I gotta fix whatever they need to fix, and you can't go on that date now. But, like, but the things happen in this environment that we can't control. But I feel like the fitness, to a degree, is one thing that we can say, okay, I can go for a walk, no matter if it's like 10-15 minutes. There's so many minutes in the day that I feel like it gives you a little bit more flexibility than other things in life. And then, like I said, it's like a snowball. It's just a building momentum. I mean, for me, it just makes me feel so much better. I'd rather be fit, and I'm not like shredded out of my mind like C-Bum or anybody like that, but I like to keep up with my fitness. I like to challenge myself. Um, and from my experience, I told you I used to, my last job was, what, 260, 262. I'd rather be myself right now than that guy that was, you know, eating bad foods on the way home and then telling people to fix their diet. I'm like, who am I to tell you to fix a diet when I just had a donut on the way to home? So it's
Yeah.
um yeah, for me, it's an anchor. It helps me with my energy. It helps me with my mind. It kind of keeps me rolling. It keeps me challenging. And I like to help other people feel the same way.
And that's amazing because it is a pretty solid foundation to have to be fit. I'm going to ask you this now because I wanted to ask you, well, the whole video, but I want to ask you now because we are coming to the end of the episode, and I want to save the last for more of like your words of inspiration. So I'll ask this question now.
Right.
Why is it that the more I work out, the better I look, the better I feel, the bigger my muscles get, the thinner I get? I'm always ready for like this beautiful girl, any girl to just be like, wow, George, I love your arms. You're looking
Right,
great today. But that
right.
never happens. I think you know where I'm heading with this. That never
Yes,
happens. I never get any compliments from girls
right,
about my body improving.
right.
But why is it that only apparently straight dudes like my friends, people at the gym, guys on the street, why do they compliment me way more than the girls?
Because they know the struggle because they're going through the same thing. And when you get married, it's gonna be the same thing. I could have the sickest pump in the world. I come home, my wife's like, "All right, what are we doing for the rest of the day?" And I'm like, "Okay." And you start fishing for the compliments. I'm like, "Well, babe, I had a really good workout. Well, good for you." So
Jeez.
those men are the same boat. Like you start fishing for compliments, but that's very funny. I never really thought about it that way. But men truly like he's like I when you see a guy, when I first spoke to you, I was in Publix about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and then there was this guy probably in his mid 50s with his wife, and I mean, this guy is like jacked. I don't know if he's on anything or not, but like for somebody that's in his like mid 50s, I mean, this guy looks like he's just put in work all his life. So I'm getting the stuff from a baby from my wife. I'm like, hey man, not to interrupt you or anything like that, but I'm like, keep it up, man. You jacked out of your mind. And his wife goes, don't give him compliments. His head's gonna grow so big you won't be able to fit in the car. So and
But he
that's
loves it. He loves the compliment. He loves like someone noticed. It's like
oh
when your wife or girlfriend comes home and like she's so sad you didn't notice her hair is different.
right,
It's
right, right,
like it's like if I come home and like it's theory at this point, but like if I come home to my girl and she doesn't tell me, babe, you look shredded, or babe,
right,
you look like swole, I'll be
right.
sad, man.
Yeah, but then also
I pumped hard.
I feel like women they would give more compliments, but I feel like they don't want you to. Let's say if you're dating somebody, they don't want you to get comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But are very competitive because if you go, let's say you go out with the girl tomorrow, like she wants you to like be bigger than her friend's boyfriend or husband. I guarantee you, or like a fitter, or like a more successful. I feel like it's a big competition with women. They don't want you to get comfortable. I feel like that's part of it. But then also they like to keep the power on their side. So they like compliments, but they don't like giving them away. So at this point in my life, I mean, I've been married with my wife for what 4 years now, going on 5. So I'm not once I got a compliment, not once. And then
Yeah.
what I used to do, I used to do a good workout, and I call her back. I FaceTime her and say, "Hey, I love what you're doing," and I slowly start moving the phone towards my biceps. She was like, "Are you done?" So or driving down the street and I'm like, hey, touch my biceps. There's a video of this big guy, right? And he told his wife, touch my biceps, and he screamed out and she touched it. So I'm driving down the street, say, hey love, why don't you just touch my biceps? She's like, can you just watch me driving? So it's like I up.
You just gotta look at her one day and be like, babe, why can't you treat me like the homies do? They
Yeah,
always My boys always bring me up. Why you got to put me down?
yeah, that is funny. I never thought about it that way, but now I'm thinking about it, it's
But I'm
yeah.
pretty sure you are in a very loving relationship with an amazing wife and you
Yeah.
are completely happy and you have nothing bad to say at all.
Oh, nothing bad to say, man. Nothing. You what? When she gets her haircut that she does and the hair coloring every 4 months now, I think it's if she comes home, first thing is like, "What do you think?" And usually answer is, "You look good, babe." So
It's
if I
got to
don't,
be. There's
oh,
no
yeah,
other answer.
I'm gonna get in trouble, and her hairstyle's gonna get in trouble as well. But a little bit about my wife. She used to box and kickbox, right?
Yikes.
So yeah, so she's very tough, man. Like down to earth. She's the best wife, best mother, best sister, you name it. But there's this thing about her name is Jill. My wife Jill is like there's a little threshold. So once somebody crosses that threshold, it's downhill. I heard it 4 times, and it was I knew what time it was, so I was like, okay, let's everybody calm down right now because I don't want her leg kicking somebody in the head. Then I have to explain why that happened. So
Jeez.
if you ever see
Ugh,
me,
man, I wish. I dream of Hopefully one day for me, man. The family, the life.
Go
Hopefully.
for it.
Knock
Go
on
for
wood.
it. Take your time, man. I'm not sure if your viewers know your age, but I'm not gonna obviously say it.
I'm
But
29.
yeah, so dude, you have another 4 to 5 years to just enjoy and figure things out, man. Do not rush, because once that happens and the family and stuff, your time starts shrinking a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Like men, 32, 33, I feel like at that point, like we kind of know what we want out of life. We're more mature as well. So you can also be a good leader for your wife and motivator for your kids. Yeah. I dude, at 29, I didn't know who I was. I didn't open my business to like what, 30 and a half, 31 years old. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely pick 35-year-old RJ than a 29-year-old RJ any day in the week.
Yeah, but that's why I like getting like guests like you on, and also like even George, who that's how we know each other, through our mutual friend
Right,
George. Not me, different George from the previous episodes. Like I like looking at him and I like looking at you and like my other guests and feeling like, okay, these guys are pretty similar to me. We're in the same age basically. They're achieving a lot. They're doing great. Like they built this life for themselves. So, it gives me hope, and hopefully my guests hope that like it's not impossible.
right,
Like this isn't like social media pretending to either be super positive, super negative. This is
right.
real life, and hopefully we can
Real,
do something about it.
real life. And yeah, I mean, uh, every day in this week, George, I was up at 5 a.m. 5 a.m. So it's I'm at a place at work by 5:40, 5:45, and then my day starts. So it's, yeah, it looks good. Like, my friends go, "Hey, how's the business and stuff?" Business is great, but I'm working hard for it. So it's not easy. Yeah, there's always gonna be challenges, no matter what we do in life. But just put a foot down, anchor yourself down, whatever that motivation is, whatever your vision is with at that moment, and then just kind of roll with it and work hard, and things will come.
I hope so, man. I really appreciate it. And RJ, I gotta thank you for those words of wisdom to me and the viewers.
Oh yeah,
Before
yeah.
before we end the episode, I want to ask you, where can the viewers find you?
Well, we have obviously our website. It's Bay Area SPF. That's sampeterfrank.com. This is where most of our this is our gym basics and kind of see the overview. And then you can find me. I'm not very active on Facebook. I don't have a TikTok. It's mostly Instagram. It's RJ underscore Bay Area SPF. If anybody has any questions, feel free to follow. I'll follow all people back, and I like to connect with people. And I also want to thank you for for this opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better. When I first spoke to you, I told you, please, if ever in town, in Clearwater, stop by. Doors are open. I would love to meet you in person and talk some more. But I really appreciate your opportunity, inviting me and giving me a chance to talk about certain things we did.
For sure, man. And honestly, I'm pretty happy to have you on. I feel like you're a pretty positive dude, and I did it. I did enjoy doing this conversation with you because, like I said, just gives a little bit of the hope from a
Right,
guy who has like who has achieved it.
right, and feedback to you.
Mhm.
This is one of the better podcasts, if not the best, that I've done. I've done a few of them. Easy to talk to, and then there's something. Your energy is there, man. There's something here, man. It just and when I listen to you and George talk, and George's like, "Man, you gotta talk to George." I said, "Man, yeah." I'm like, Definitely gotta connect, because there's something here, man. I really love your energy, and I like your vision, what you're doing with this podcast, and I think people will benefit. Hearing positives, but also negatives are also very important to kind of mush them together, try to figure out things, and just talk about things so we can all get better.
100%. Like I do try to make a balance out of it. And RJ, if I may ask, I would love to have you on for future episodes,
But dude, I'm whenever
different
whenever
topics.
that would be awesome, and we can talk about different topics. We can talk about relationship, finances, whatever, sales, whatever. I'm open book. Like I said again, I appreciate this opportunity and time. I really had an awesome time.
No worries, man. And To get back what you said, I've been to Florida. I love Florida. I ate an alligator. It was delicious. A
Oh
lot of
boy.
my favorite YouTubers are based in Florida, like Blue Gabe or Deer Hunter,
Right.
or there's another one I can't remember, but he's based in Florida. Patrick Bet David, actually.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just, bro, like, if I wasn't in Canada, I'd be in Florida.
You would like it down here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a different state from other. Florida is a little bit different from other states in the country.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a little bit different down here. It's people are a little bit more real. There are good people down here. Obviously, there's bad people and crime, whatever in certain
Yeah.
areas. Where we live, it's really good people, man, good community, and everybody wants to see everybody succeed, which is really refreshing at times.
Now we're just coming to the conclusion of the video. RJ, once again, thank you for being here. Guys, follow his social media down below, his website, his Instagram, his channel. Links are down below in the description. And guys, you know the drill. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share our social media, because doing so helps us get amazing guests like RJ on.
Thanks, George. I appreciate you having me on, man, and we'll definitely link up soon again.
100%. Take care, everybody, and have a great day.